Today's video, which is going to be very informative for you, is going to show 90 minutes of trading from Friday, trading and analyzing the five major equity futures markets. We're going to cover the Dow Jones, which is the YM, the ES, which is the E-mini S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the Russell, and the EMD, which is the mid-cap 400. And we're going to show all of the trades that took place using a combined Gann Elliot wave analysis with the software contained within Hypercent Trading that's available. And we're going to show all of the trade setups and what has occurred on Friday. But before we do that, I need to go ahead and take care of the mandatory disclaimer that we need to put forward. Now here's the disclaimer, and this is actually contained on our website, hypercenttrading.com, and I'll circle back to that later if anybody's interested in seeing more. But please take a moment to read the disclaimer. I think most of you are familiar with it, but we need to go ahead and put that up. All right. So again, the trading, now I'm on the West Coast here, so I'm going to be showing starting at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, that's 9:30 Eastern, that's when the pits open, and I'm going to show the trading through 8 a.m. Eastern, I'm sorry, 8 a.m. Pacific, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, okay, so an hour and a half. And there's two types of trades that the software is signaling and picking up, and these trades can be executed automatically in real time if the trader wishes to do so with one of the other traders that we have available here. But every one of these arrows is a trade setup, and there's two different types of trade setups that are occurring on this. One is trading at the exhaustion of a wave 5, Elliott wave, Gann combined wave 5, and that's where you're going to see these footballs. We call them the footballs with the cyan band. That's the one type of trade. The other type of trade is trying to catch a wave 2 retrace. So wherever you don't see a football in here, that's going to be a wave 2. So for example, this short was a wave 2 short. This was a wave 2 long. This was a wave 2 short. So starting out of the gate at 6:30 Pacific, we had a pretty nice wave 2 short here in the Dow. That turned to a wave 2 buy here. And I want to talk about stop management. The way that I recommend using stop management is once this trade was taken, if the trader took it off the signal, you notice we've got a swing down here. This is a good area for the stop. It's not a big stop. It's about 5 ticks max. This first trade really didn't amount to much, and the stop would have gotten hit through here. I like to come back in because sometimes you won't get a second trade signal, but if the first signal gets stopped out, what I like to do is once we move back up above this level, above the stop level, once these bars turn yellow or blue, I like to re-enter that trade one time. So that was the re-entry right here, and that was a nice trade. So you're able to save the trade. Over here was the short. This was a wave 2. I got about 20 ticks on the first part of it and then no more. Here's a very nice wave 2 entry then right here. And this one actually completed a very nice harmonic Gann Elliot football that I'm going to show here. So the nice trade entry 2 on the wave 2, it retraced to a 3, went to a 4, and then down to the impulse wave 5. At this point in time, this then triggers a long trade, and you can see that from the arrow. And the way this is traded is using this cyan band. Once the cyan band occurs, the cyan band then becomes the stop, and it's actually a stop in reverse. So the initial long trade here did not amount to anything, and then it was a short trade under here. All right, short trade under here. As we came back up through the cyan band, because the bars turned yellow, again, yellow or blue above the band, you can flip that trade along. Got about 10 ticks on it. And then as we came back down through it, short and short again. Once we got down to here, and we don't normally take more of the trade signals. That's why this wasn't a long entry here, because it was still off of a wave 7 on a football. Once we have that, we're only going to trade this band unless and until you get another wave 2 set up under here. And that's what this is. This was a wave 2. You can see it. This was a great trade. So this trade was entered long, and you're able to run this trade up a considerable amount. Had you missed it, again, because we had moved down through here, you could have traded the cyan band long as well. So again, that was the long trade. We then had a short trade here. We're about 40 minutes into the session. Some of you, if you were trading this, probably met your goals already for the day, but I'm going to show the full hour and a half. Short trade that did not amount to much other than a scalp, and then of course the stop was hit as we went up through. There was no re-entry because we never traded back below this area with the proper bars. But then about 10 minutes later, you got this beautiful wave 2 short. We had come down on an impulse wave to 1, the software picked up to 2, and then it was able to take the entire trip down here on just a beautiful short trade, and this really makes it. We then completed the wave 5. The software picked up the long trade here. All right, this was the initial long. As we came through the cyan band, because our bars were magenta color, or yellow, in this case magenta, it was short. And then as we traveled back up through the band, again, the way this is taught and the way it's traded, because we moved to yellow bars, or blue, either one, but in this case yellow, it was a long, and you caught the beginning of the wave 2 as we, wave 1 actually, this was a wave 1 completing to 2. All right. And then that brings us almost to the end of the session, the end of the hour and a half. You had another wave 5 short right here that didn't amount to a whole lot, and then that basically brought us to 8 a.m. Notice that the trader, if they still wanted to trade past this, and I'm only showing the trades for the first hour and a half, would have had again another long trade the way this is taught and the way I like to approach it, as we broke above here with blue bars. So that's the YM. That's an hour and a half of trading, and I think you can see very high percentage of trades with a very large reward to risk. All right, let's take a look at our next market. All right, this is the E-mini S&P from Friday. Now, the E-mini was a lot choppier, a lot more range bound, didn't have a lot of movement, but I'm going to show that using this trade analysis, using the Gann Elliot combined analysis here, still provides some very good trades for the hour and a half time session. So if I back it up here, here's our pit open on the ES contract. You had an initial short trade entry here about a half hour into the session, and this trade was able to get about 10 to 12 ticks. You had another wave 2 long entry here for another nice trade up. We ignore the second arrow because this is your trade entry here. And then we had a very nice trade here, caught it right at the bottom as we moved up. And so this was a very good trade coming in right around the 27.11 area and eventually moved up to the 27.18 level. That's 7 handles. That's about 28 ticks. So that's a pretty nice trade. Notice also it had another entry here, another wave 2 entry here. It's a little hard to see, but here's the arrow here. That could have been a nice add-on. So again, a lot more range bound on the ES. I think you can see the difference between this chart and the YM chart that was running. But this approach works beautifully, equally well, whether we're in a range-bound market or whether we're in a running market. All right, let's take a look at our next equity from Friday. All right, here's the EMD contract. For those of you who may not be familiar with this, this is the cousin of the E-mini S&P. This is the mid-cap 400. It's a lot thinner market, but it tends to move very nicely. So here's our pit open starting here at 6:30. We had a really nice wave 2 short entry here. This actually completed a 5-wave Gann Elliot football. So you could have ridden this down here if you're able to manage it all the way. And then you had the long trade entry here and a secondary along here that moved up very nicely for a good number of ticks. This was about a $300 move per contract. All right, then you had your short entry here. This could have been a reversal if you were still long, but it is a short entry. And just as I showed in the previous example, the stop is very tight. The stop would have been about 4 to 5 ticks. It would have been right over the top of this. The stop would have gotten hit. But then, as I mentioned, once you traded back below this area and the bars went yellow, that's a short again, and of course your initial stop would have been here. So real nice short running down. I want to show that same concept too, that since we did not have any other Gann Elliot wave formation setup, a little bit later, if you apply the same analysis here to this, again, once you traded back, once you got above this and traded back below it, and you went to yellow bars, that was a short entry, and you would have caught this entire down move. And that would have actually brought you then to the conclusion of the hour and a half that takes us out here. So not as many trades, obviously, as the YM, but about the same number that we had in the E-mini S&P. But I want to show this too. You don't have to stop trading. Traders don't have to stop trading in the hour and a half. I like to use that time period to show that you can have a lot of nice trades, make a very good profit, very good professional living just trading for an hour and a half every day if you're using a disciplined approach to the market like this is. But again, what I wanted to show is later on in these markets, it continued to trade very nicely. This was around 8:23 Pacific, a nice wave 2 short, a wave 5 long, a wave 2 short, and then a wave 5 long, and it caught every one of these trades. And this is operating in real time. This is not after the fact. If you have this software, and this can run on 50 different markets if you want. I'm just showing the equities. It's very robust, very profitable day in and day out. And as I indicated, you can set this to auto trade just by activating the button, and it'll take the short trade, take the long trade, and manage those according to whatever stops and ATM targets that you have. So that's 3 of the 5 markets. We still have the Russell and the Nasdaq to consider yet. Okay, here's the 4th of our equities from Friday for the hour and a half. This is the Russell, and this is our pit open right here in the Russell. So this would be our first trade. It was a wave 2 short, which is a very nice trade. I do want to point this out. Again, I like trading and recommend trading for those that can in the first hour and a half of the pit open. But this software works basically 24 hours. And I want to point out a lot of traders start a little bit earlier. They'll start around 8 a.m. Eastern. And you can see this great wave 5 Gann Elliot combination down here earlier, about a half an hour before the pit open. Produced a nice long trade here that never got stopped out below the band for a nice big run all the way up into the pit open. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. But again, using our hour and a half analysis, the first trade entry here on the Russell was right here. It was short. We came down and then had a very nice wave 2 long entry. That was about 7 minutes into the pit session. We moved up, completed a wave 5 football with, if you took the short, an initial short that did not amount to much. Again, the way this is taught to be traded is you would use your stop here and flip that to long to recover. You would have had another nice long trade here that you got a scalp and nothing more. This completed the wave 7, and then as we came down through the band, we turned to our magenta bar color for the short. And that would have completed the short down through here. Now, I don't think we were pretty much in chaos after that and a random walk, and I don't believe we had any other really good harmonic setups in Russell into the expiration of the first hour and a half. But again, you can see all of these trades, for the most part, were very good trades. One of them got stopped out, but the rest, good trade setups. And again, that's the Russell using this same approach. And I think you can see that just following 2 of these equity markets for that time period produces very nice trade setups and profits. And what I'm showing today is not unique to this day. If you're familiar with the software, if you've tried it or have it or wish to come on a trial and try it, you'll see this repeat day in and day out. It's that strong. So let's take a look at our last market from Friday. Okay, here's the last of our 5 equities from Friday. This is the Nasdaq. Now, the Nasdaq is the market that produces usually the most amount of trades. It's also the market that's least harmonic. It's the most chaotic. Markets are only in nice random, again, Elliot type order analysis 30% of the time. The other 70%, it's a random walk chaos. And more so in Nasdaq than the other markets. But again, very nice trade setups from Friday, and I'm going to demonstrate them. This gets us to our pit open. Your first trade setup here was a wave 2 that resulted in a nice little scalp here, nothing more. And then we went up and completed the wave 5 on our Gann Elliot football, triggering a short trade here. And the way we like to trade this is, if you can, trade in multiples of 2 contracts, take a scalp, and then try to hold a runner. If your stop was above the cyan band here on the runner, it would have hit the stop. But then notice we had a second entry right away. This went to the 7. Also, the way we teach it is once you close back below the cyan band again, it was short, and this market never looked back. Took the short entry and moved down here within about 5 minutes, less than that. It's actually about a 3-minute move. It moved 14 handles. That's $280 per contract. So then, moving into it, again, the Nasdaq being the most active, we had a very nice wave 2 long here, resulting in a nice profit. If your stop on your trailer was under here, it just got nipped. But then you would jump back in on it right here when the bars went yellow and caught a nice move up. We then had a wave 2 short up here that amounted to a nice little scalp and nothing more. We went into a little bit of chaos after that, and this trade would have resulted in a loss, stop out loss, but it's okay. Your stops are generally 6 to 8 ticks. That's not big with the reward to risk that I think you see here. And as I talked about, your reentry would have been here, but you also had a wave 2 that signaled here as well. So your reentry again was here. We moved further on down, about 15 minutes into the session. Again, a lot more active. We completed a very nice wave 5 Gann Elliot football to the upside. Beautiful trade to the upside. Now we're starting to see more harmony in the market as we kind of got through the pit open, and a great wave 2 short here, taking us down into the wave 5. If you would have covering the short or going long, the long amounted to nothing other than a stop out. This is your band. This is your stop. This is when you reverse to short, reversing to short under this band. All right, and staying that way until we clear this band out again. So you could have stayed on that short basically all the way through what I call chaos and chop. Okay, here's one of the rare examples of a wave 2 long your stop is under here, it immediately would have gotten stopped out. But then again, watch what happened. Beautiful wave 2 entry here, about 36 minutes into the trade session for a super trade to the upside. Retraced back a little bit, had a really nice Gann Elliot wave 5 off the football for long, and this market did not look back. Right, never looked back off the trade, and then eventually a little bit later on took the short entry here. That got stopped out, but you can see by then hopefully you're done trading. If you aren't, that's okay, because once we completed the football up here again on the 5 and 7, a nice short trade. You even had a second opportunity here on the wave 2 for just a monstrous, huge move to the downside. This move went, I think, starting around the 93 level, and took it all the way down until we got a wave 2 signal here to the 64 level. That's very close. That's about 30 handles, just short of 30 handles. At $20 a handle, that's $600 a contract if you're able to just stay in it and manage it down. Okay, we're still within our hour and a half. You can see we get a lot of trades, and a good 80 to 85% of them are profitable with big reward to risk. Wave 2 entry here for a nice long. Completing a wave 5 for a long here, and a wave 2 here. And that pretty much brings us to the end of our trade session. Okay, we had a few more trades in here with a re-entry here and then a long, but by then you're pretty much done. So that's the trading in all 5 of the equities, using the same principles, the same logic, and the same software. I've put up a couple of web addresses here if you're interested in this. If you're not a member yet, and you haven't taken a trial yet, or you're thinking about using this great software which produces these results pretty much every day. Here's the web address. This is our website, high%trading.com. If you want to request a complete trial of these indicators, if you haven't had one yet, please, you can do so here at the high%trading/.com free trial. And if you want to contact us for more information, that's the contact form. So I urge you to do that. If you haven't taken a trial, you'll be able to get a nice 7-day trial. You'll be able to come into our live markets analysis rooms and our workshops. That's averaging between 12 and 15 hours a week of analysis and training. And that's all part of the trial package that we'll offer to you. Okay. Just a reminder for some of you who are following this, our membership is on a special promotion right now. That promotion is going to end May 24th, at which time our membership prices are going to triple. So I really urge you, if this is something that you feel is going to benefit you and you've been thinking about coming in as a member or want to come in as a member, I really urge you to do that beforehand, because as I indicated, because of the demand on this and because we don't want to saturate the market with this, we're limiting it, and the way we're going to limit that is to triple our price. So thanks for watching. I hope this is informative, and I hope to see some of you soon. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.